Y'all ready for the very last section of this chapter? Because at this point, I kind of am. So we're doing deductive reasoning today. Deductive reasoning is the process of reasoning logically and drawing a conclusion from facts and statements. So inductive reasoning, which we covered at the very beginning, was based on patterns and assumptions. This is based on facts, and you have to have facts. Your law of detachment, given a conditional statement, if the hypothesis is true, then the conclusion is true. So your symbolic map is if P and Q. So if P, then Q, and P, therefore Q. The ... means therefore. So if you are given if P, then Q, and you're also given another statement that tells you statement P, then statement Q is also true. So in that senior math class that I teach, we go a lot further into this, and there are a lot of different variables that make these things true and false, but we are only focusing on this one. It has to follow this exactly so that you can come to a conclusion, okay? So use the law of detachment to give a valid conclusion. If not possible, write no valid conclusion. So if Mark saves $30, that right there is gonna be your P. Then he can buy a new video game. That's Q. So if P, then Q. Mark saves $30. Hey, that was our statement P. So if P, then Q, and P, therefore Q. So our statement Q was he can buy a new video game. Our conclusion is Mark can buy a new video game. So number 2, if a quadrilateral is a rhombus. A quadrilateral is a rhombus is going to be our statement P. Then it is also a parallelogram. That's going to be our statement Q. So I'm writing it out on every single one of these. If P, then Q. Quadrilateral ABCD is a rhombus. That's statement P again. If a quadrilateral is a rhombus, that's our specific quadrilateral. Therefore, quadrilateral ABCD is a parallelogram. So you are matching this half of your sentence with this new sentence down here. If these two things match, then this part is automatically your therefore, and it is true. So example 3, if you are 18 years old, is going to be our statement P. Then you can register to vote is going to be statement Q. Well, that's if P, then Q. Olivia is not 18 years old. Well, this says you are 18. This says Olivia's not. Because you've got that not P, it throws off our whole formula up here. So because we've got a not P, we don't know what kind of conclusion we can draw from that, so we say no valid conclusion. Example number 4, if the sum of the measures of two angles is 90 degrees. So the sum of the measures of two angles is 90 degrees. That's statement P. Then they are complementary. That's going to be statement Q. Our next statement, that's if P, then Q right down here. If the measure of angle J is 58 and the measure of angle K is 32, well, this statement says sum. Sum is addition. So this, you got to kind of use your imagination here and assume that the word sum is here. If you add 58 and 32, that gives you 90. So that's statement P again. You've got the sum of two measures. The sum of those two is 90, so that statement is the same. Therefore, J and K are complementary angles. Number 5, you plan to attend prom. So that's statement P. You must purchase a ticket. That's going to be statement Q. So if P, then Q. Sarah purchases a prom ticket. Well, that's statement Q. There was no statement P. So this says if P, then Q, and P. Well, we don't know what kind of conclusion to draw, so that one's also a no valid conclusion. Next page. Next page is law of syllogism. Your law of syllogism is very similar to your transitive property, and I'll show you why. So this allows you to draw a conclusion from two conditional statements in which the conclusion of the first statement is the hypothesis of the second statement. So if P, then Q, if Q, then R, therefore if P, then R. Remember, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So syllogism follows that same hopping pattern that we've been studying, almost all year. It just has if-thens in there. So, use the law of syllogism to write a valid conclusion. If not possible, write no valid conclusion. So our statement, if it is Saturday, so it is Saturday, and we don't have a lot of room here to label, that's going to be statement P. It is Saturday, then Jake has a baseball tournament. That's going to be our Q. Well, if Jake has a baseball tournament, we just said that was Q, then he will need to pack his lunch. That's statement R. So, and I've got it written out over here. If P, then Q. If Q, then R. Our conclusion is if P, then R. So, if it is Saturday, then Jake will need to pack his lunch. So this is dissecting sentences. What you're looking for is this second half. I'm going to go ahead and cross it out. This second half should always match this first half. And then why is that all blurry? Then you smush the rest of your sentence together. So if you've crossed out this and this, that's your first half. That's your new second half. That's all you got to do. So number 7, if a number is divisible by 12, then it is divisible by 6. So that's if P, then Q. If a number is divisible by 6, then it is divisible by 3. That's if Q, then R. Remember, we're looking to make sure this matches this. And because it does, we can go ahead and rework our sentence. So it says if P, then R. If a number is divisible by 12, then it is automatically divisible by 3. Oops, there we go. So number 8, if a quadrilateral is a square, then it is a rectangle. That's if P, then Q. If a quadrilateral is a rectangle, well, we've got the word rectangle here and the word rectangle here, so those two match like we're looking for. Then it has 4 right angles. So if P, then Q, and if Q, then R, then if P, then R. So if a quadrilateral is a square, then it has 4 right angles. Number 9, if it is sunny this weekend, then you will go boating. That's if P, then Q. If it is sunny this weekend, then you will wear shorts. Did you notice how these two match? Those aren't the ones that are supposed to match. It is supposed to be back half, first half. This is first half on both, so this one is no valid conclusion. It's a if P, then Q, and an if P, then R, and that's a no-go, Ghostwriter. So number 10, if you shop at Target, then you will use your Target red card. There we go. So if Q, then P. You can't see that. There we go. If Q, then P. If you do not use your Target red card, then you will not get 5% off. This one would almost work. It really would, except, you've got the pesky word not. And if you remember, that back half doesn't match this half because of that word not. And if you remember, nots are called negations. So this reads as if Q, then P, and if not Q, then not R. Well, that's not our original formula that we studied up here. So we can't do anything with that, so that's a no valid conclusion. And number 11, given, if it snows, then school will be canceled. If school is canceled, look right here, we've got a match. So cross out, then students will need to make up a day of school. So if it snows, then students will need to make up a day of school. That's it. Do you know, I've been thinking about this. Now that we've been doing this e-learning for so long and this remote learning, and we're doing everything from home, do you think we'll actually have snow days from here on out? I think that's a valid question. I'm curious about that. And that's all for your 2-5 day 1. We'll pick up with 2-5 day 2 in another video.